I'm joined here with Nina Munteanu, and she is an author. Now, you released your novel, A Diary in the Age of Water, this summer, so can you give me a bit of background into this book?
I got started on, I was actually asked to write a short story on water by my publisher in Rome. And I wanted to write something that was ironic. And Canada, of course, as you know, is full of water. It's a water-rich country. So I wanted to find something that was ironic. So I chose the topic of water scarcity in Canada. And of course, the scarcity is a result of politics and sociopolitics and those kind of things. So out of that came a short story, The Way of Water, with a young girl who is basically dying of thirst in front of a public water device right in front of University of Toronto in Toronto, and the story goes from there. So that begged more on the background and on her limnologist mother, and out of that came this book, The Diary, which is the diary of the limnologist. So the book is essentially chronicles the stories of 4 generations of women, including the limnologist and the daughter whose story was in The Way of Water, and their unique relationship with water. So it's about climate change. Climate change is a water phenomenon.
And now, this book really makes readers think, and like you mentioned, about climate change and about other topics. So, why did you want to make that one of the main focal points?
Yeah, because, well, I'm very concerned about climate change for one thing. I'm a scientist. I'm an environmental scientist. I've been doing that for a long time. Um, a limnologist as well, a studier of water. So I'm concerned about what we're doing, human-induced climate change, and how it's affecting the world and life, as well as ourselves directly, but also indirectly through what's going on with the rest of the world, and particularly the natural world, the storms and the extinctions and everything. That a lot of them are connected to climate change itself, but also our own attitudes toward nature, the natural world. And climate change in some ways is like a giant symptom of our disconnect with the natural world and our abuse in some cases and lack of respect for what we're, all the things that we're doing. So my my writing, most of my writing is eco-fiction as a result. So it's eco, short for ecology or ecosystem fiction that involves the environment, in which the environment actually plays a very important role, a character even. And in my book, the diary book, water is a character in the story. So it might be a subtle character, but water, as you know, we have mostly water in us. We're 70%, if not more, water. And so water through us is this character that comes through.
And as you mentioned earlier, this book features the story of 4 generations of women, and that's not often something that we see in a lot of literature and a lot of things that are out there right now. So, what was the inspiration for that?
Well, that's a great question. I guess it was the idea of expanding it to a sort of a saga level, to a greater picture of more people involved. So seeing it in generations is one way of doing it. And of course, as you know too, and we are a product of our families, right? We play out what our past generations are and do, even right down to our DNA. We carry that in our DNA. We carry that in our culture, in our personal culture. So seeing what one character is doing and in relation to what the previous character was and does brings a larger story, larger context, if you will, and more reasoning behind why characters are motivated the way they are.
And now, another one of your books, Water Is, was praised by Margaret Atwood. So, what did that recognition mean to you?
Oh, everything. Oh my gosh. It's basically a biography on water. Water is. And it describes water from 12 different angles: joy, motion, life, etc. and brings in all these experts who speak to that. So I knew she would enjoy it. And that was as far as it went. So then Christmas comes along, Christmas Day. I get a note from my friend in Romania, says, congratulations, congratulations on being in the New York Times. And I'm going, what? So he had seen Margaret Atwood's testimonial in the New York Times as part of the year of reading. Every year they bring in celebrities to talk about their books, the books that they've loved and recommend. And my book, Water Is, was her #1 choice in there. And that's how I found out about it. So that was my Christmas present for that year. Isn't that cool?
That's really awesome. And
Yeah, really neat.
if anyone's looking to get the book, or if anyone's looking to get your other book, Water Is, where should they go?
So Water is for sale all over the map. A lot of bookstores, mostly online, Amazon for sure, Barnes and Noble, etc., Kobo. A Diary in the Age of Water, you can even get it from the publisher. And I highly suggest you go to the publisher, Inanna Publications, gorgeous publisher. But you can also buy it elsewhere in all the major bookstores, Chapters, Indigo, Barnes and Noble, and Amazon.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Nina.
Well, thank you so much, Jasmine, for having me. It was a pleasure.